Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. We are almost at the top of the hour here, and so we'll get started in just a few moments. Thanks for joining us today. Just give it another minute or two here. Make sure everybody's joining. Good afternoon. I can see our Weber Grill expert is getting set up in the background there. All right, we'll just check and see where we're at for attendees here. All right, so I will go ahead and kick things off for us today. So thanks everybody again for joining us this afternoon. We're excited to have you here with us along with HP, our gracious sponsors, and Weber Grill instructor. So before we get started, just a quick, again, thank you to all of those who are joining us today and for HP for sponsoring this wonderful event. For those of you who aren't super familiar with our organization, we have both customers from ACP and from Camera Corner Connecting Point on the call. So just to give you a brief overview of our history, Camera Corner Connecting Point was founded in 1953 in Green Bay, Wisconsin. You can see along our timeline there a few of our milestones that we've hit along the way. ACP Creative IT was founded in 1984 in Buffalo Grove, Illinois, and we merged together in 2018 to merge into a $200 million organization with 200 roughly employees. Along those lines, we also have practice areas in cybersecurity, mobility, and rapid deployment. So on top of those HP computers that we can get you pricing and availability on, we can also help with podding and deployment of those machines. We do also have cloud services and cloud specialties. We have engineering solutions and services. We offer things around critical infrastructure, and we also have a robust AV division. If you do have any questions on anything throughout this time, please feel free to put any questions in the chat. We do have moderators on the call who will be taking any questions that you have. If it isn't something that we can address on this call, we'll be sure to follow up with you following. But with that, I will pass it over to Nancy Bowman, our channel business manager.
Hello, everybody. Let me start sharing. I don't know if you need to stop.
Oh, yeah, I can do that here.
Real quick, and then I'll pull mine up. All right. All right. I guess everybody can see this. Well, thank you so much for having us participate with you in this, because we always want to get out kind of our story and what's going on in the market at the moment. So I'm going to focus on, like she said, our elite products, and some of the stuff that we've introduced really highlight not just the speeds and feeds, of course, but some of the HP value add that we put into our products, so that, you know, in this time of working from home and stuff like that, we're all having new experiences and new relationships with our PCs. So we want to highlight some of those things to make that experience that much better. I want to start though with, you know, we live in some trying times right now, right? Things are crazy, and even from a what's going on in our world of technology and stuff like that, things are a little, uh, difficult, I would say. But there is a lot of opportunity. So I'm hoping, you're still, needing, your demands. We're trying to get your product and things like that. But one of the things that we're trying to do around our whole portfolio is really open it up a bit. And we've introduced some new series. And they're really not new, but they are um, with the way that they've been redesigned, there's just that much more opportunity to actually use these products. And I'm kind of speaking specifically about our 600 series. So just real quick from a high level portfolio, what we've got. We start out in a 400 series, kind of transactional type product where we try to have stuff on the on Stockton channel as much as we can. And then we have this 600 series, which is a great product, and we've just revamped it. So it is thinner and lighter, but it kind of falls into this idea of what we're calling this mainstreamium. I think our management's coined a word there, mainstreamium, mobile growth. And it's really trying to leverage this 600 series because in the past, it's a ProBook series, but in the past, it was mostly pigeonholed for a Fed type end customer. It had a lot of legacy serial ports and different things that they required. In this newest generation, which is a G8 series, it has been completely revamped. It's smaller, lighter, it's got a great design, it's more portable, comes in a 13, 14, 15 inch, but it's great. So really from a whole portfolio perspective, it's opened things up. And then you go up into our 800 series, which is an elite type product, and our 1000, which is, a little bit of a step above elite in a sense, but it's still in that elite branding. But we're trying to open up the portfolio. Everybody's trying to get their hands on whatever they can. So the 600 series has really opened up the whole value of what we are able to bring to market. So it's something to consider. The other thing is you notice, and maybe you guys are requesting this, is we're trying to maximize the value of what we bring in our SKUs. So I'm not sure if you're requesting or seeing a need more for more memory. That's probably the biggest thing that we've started to do. We've probably moved away from mainstream SKUs that we have away from 8 gigs to 16 gigs. We're integrating more things like something I'll talk about, which are HP SureView. We've got larger hard drives. We're trying to bring a better value for what we can get our hands on to market and kind of just maximize what you're getting when you can, when we can get it and get it out to you. So we're seeing that kind of growth. So definitely a move away from 8 gigs as a standard towards 16. The other thing that we've got from HP is, we continue to be the most secure and manageable PCs on the market. We've got a whole suite of products around security from, virus protection, from, things that protect, viruses and people getting into even your firmware down to, before you even start up your PC, there's protections. We've got this whole, what we call HP Sure Suite. So security continues to be a huge thing for us. And now with the pandemic and a lot of people working from home, security is, a very important thing because people are trying to take, any way that they can nowadays to get, into your PC, to get you to click on something, to open up an attachment. And a bunch of our features in our security solution really help against this. And then I'll touch about sustainability in a couple slides, but that's also becoming a big conversation that we're finding end customers are very interested in. But the main thing that we want to say is, kind of give a little bit of air cover for our partners is because it is a tight market right now. There's component shortages. I think you're seeing both even on the, not just the commercial side, but the consumer side, whether you're trying to get a car, that's getting tight, right? Brand new cars because of components that are going into their displays and things. I know I went shopping in January for a new couch, and everywhere I went, they said it was going to be held up, and I'm not getting it till June 1st. I'm like waiting for it, but I have to be patient because I understand anything that you want, they just don't have it necessarily sitting in their inventory either or off the shelf. So, we're all getting impacted by this supply situation. And then the other thing is, just with going home, even displays and docks, people trying to set up their home environment so that they can work more productively. There's been an increase in there. And then the other thing I'll give a shout out for in the desktop space, there's been huge increase in the mobile space, with demand. But we're trying to make sure that customers understand that just because you're working from home doesn't necessarily mean you're a mobile person. Whether, you may be in the office and, you're at a desk and you're primarily at the desk all day long. And now you're at home and you're at your desk. You're not traveling. So we just want to make sure that everybody understands that just because people are working from home, it doesn't mean that they all have to have mobile. There's opportunity to get your hands on desktop solutions, which is really important. But the main thing is plan now with ACP about what you need, because the lead time that we're experiencing in this industry is just like what you're seeing in consumer. So if you need stuff, it's better to discuss it, get the orders on the book now so that when you really, really need it in-house, you'll be able to get it. But that's probably the biggest takeaway is figure out what you're doing, towards the end of summer and into the fall and start to plan and get orders in on it now. So that's a high level kind of just what we're seeing in the market. But, with the complete solution, and as we go into the rest of the slides, we are talking about this experience. We're talking about the new now. You guys probably hear it left and right, the new now. But it's upon us. We're not working the same, and we probably never will go back to working the same. So in your organization and trying to find the right solutions for each of your, end users within your organization, you really should, with what you can get your hands on, try to understand, are they a desk-based person? Do they need to be very mobile? Like I was saying, they could be a desktop person, even from working from home. Do they do things at their desk where they need larger displays? So they're maybe going to go for a 15-inch, monitor versus a 14 or a 13-inch notebook. So how are they using these products? And then what is our full portfolio that can help you with? And then, how do they thrive? Are they more capable, or not capable, but are they more comfortable doing lots of collaborative meetings and things like that? Do they do a lot of stuff where they need good audio? They need good, they're doing lots of meetings like this where you have to have a great camera and stuff like that. So, what kind of situations do they travel a lot where security is important? So you might go up into, for us, an Elite series. And then maybe you've got some users that are really kind of power users in a sense, that a mobile workstation or a mobile or workstation desk-based product might be important for somebody, depending on the apps they use and the processing power that they need. So we've got everything, and it just really is a matter of are they very mobile or are they desk-based? To really kind of, we'll be able to find you a solution. But it's just understanding, everybody doesn't have to totally be peanut buttered with every single same solution, especially when things are tight, right? But, we do say the future has arrived ahead of schedule with all of this. I can't believe it's been over a year that, I know I've been working from home. I haven't been in the office myself, haven't been traveling. But I know when we do start to open things up at the end of this year, hopefully, it won't be the same. I don't think I'll be traveling as much, but I still need something that's light and thin because I want to go and see partners and things like that. But work won't be the same, and we know that. So we're trying to make sure that when people are thinking now for what they're going to need, we're a little bit past that helter-skelter rush of let's get what we can type thing. Now we're kind of in the not settling in phase, but we want people to think about in the future how they're going to be using these products so that one, they get the best experience, and two, some of the other solutions other than speeds and feeds are highlighted because the experience that I'm having with my laptop has never been like this close ever, right? I'm doing tons of these kinds of things, tons of virtual shows and stuff like that where I need good audio, I need good connection, I need a good collaboration tool, I need a good camera and stuff like that. So some of those things I want to highlight because that's where our Elite products shine. So a year ago, we all kind of, everybody out, go back home and work and stuff like that. And the first thing that everybody started to worry about was, can I sanitize my laptop? Can I sanitize, these devices and things I'm using? So just, rest assured from our products, whether it's a notebook, desktop, workstation, it's your accessories and things like that, we have tested to be able to wipe at least 1,000 cycles with household wipes. So, that was that first, oh, what do we do with all our products? And everybody was like, I need to be able to wipe them down. So, we've kind of gotten past that a little bit, but rest assured, our products continue to be very, able to be sanitized very easily. The other thing that's kind of grown in consciousness has been this idea of, sustainability and the environment. People are starting to recognize those things as being very, very important and stuff like that. And HP has always, had an eye and worked very hard to be a sustainable company. And it's coming out in our products. We've got recycled magnesium on the keyboard deck. We've got recycled plastics putting into our stuff. EPEAT Gold, we've got the most recognized EPEAT Gold registered products. And what that is really the soup to nuts, how you develop a product, how it comes into your, manufacturing and how it's disposed of. So you've got to meet certain criteria in order to get this rating, and gold is the highest, and HP has gotten that. The other thing too is, again, with packaging even, we used to have a bunch of these styrofoam buns and stuff like that we would put in. No longer. We've moved to recycled paper pulp to more easily made out of paper, so that you can easily put that into your recycling bin, or even just regular garbage. At least it will break down that much more easily. So that kind of stuff is very important to us, and we've made tons of strides around sustainability and stuff like that. But the other thing that's important, and is just our concentration. We're working here all day. Sometimes, you've got to remind yourself to get up, or you've got to remind yourself to get up, but, don't walk by the pantry. that's, that's a tough one. But, you have to concentrate. You've got to get up. You've got to exercise. During the day, HP Workwell is something that we brought out with our last generation of product. And we've got in our current product, but it really is one of those things that it can track like how much you've been typing and stuff like that, and offer certain suggestions about, hey, take a break. I mean, I bet a bunch of you have like a Fitbit and stuff like that. I've got, my watch and everything, but this will actually be on your desk, understand how you're using your equipment, so that it can, kind of give you a ping of, hey, take a minute, maybe, it probably will help. So it's just a nice thing to keep that concentration going, and you to stay healthy in your mind and physically during the day. Another thing is we've got that big work life kind of melding, right? I mean, I used to use my PC for work. I had my work PC. Nobody ever touched it. The kids didn't do anything with it. I didn't want them to click on something bad. Work PC. And then I would have my normal PC when I got home if I just wanted to surf the web or look something up on Amazon or whatever. But I now with the way I'm working from home is, I do stuff on my phone and I want to get an attachment or something like that, and I want to be able to use it real quick or look at it really quickly. So with HP Quick Drop, it's actually an application that you can, I put it on, it doesn't even have to be this generation of product. I put it on mine. I think I have a G5 of an 840, and we're already on G8. So I know I can use it on my laptop. I've got it on my laptop and my phone because I take lots of pictures. So, I mean, I'm not making that divide of my work life and my home life. It's fuzzy now. Right. I'm doing everything all at the same time, and I don't have, time to just keep going back and forth and logging into different things because I'm using my primary PC more often. So HP Quick Drop is a really great solution for, making, work and life a little bit better and easier. So another thing as well, because we will get back in the office, is physical security. So we've got a lot of security built in to our systems, but one of the things that you can request is HP ShareView from us. Now, this is an integrated privacy screen straight from the factory. So it's nothing laid on top or anything like that. And our latest generation of 1000 series or 800 series elites and up have HP SureView Reflect. And what that is, a privacy screen, and you can kind of see there, the video was going for a second, but if you can see me in the video up in the corner, I'm just pressing this button F2 and immediately this privacy screen comes on. So it's fantastic because I mean, I can't see anything on it. You know, I'm starting to boot up this PC and get it set up, but if it was information that I didn't want anybody to see, I can easily press this button for that kind of security. Visual hacking is still a problem. Any kind of security, you know, nowadays is a problem. But when you're traveling, we will be on a plane again. We will be more in coffee shops and things like that. So look for being able to integrate something like as simple as this into what you're requesting, because the privacy screen is just, it's easy, secure, and then, you know, a little bit of less, you know, having to worry about who's looking over your shoulder. And then another cool thing that we have, because again, we will be traveling. So we released our G7 series of Elite products with this tile feature as an option. And going into the G8s, because we liked it so much, it's now included 100% in our Elite products. So what it is kind of like a Find My Phone type app or, you know, solution, where if you're stepping away from your laptop and you don't know where you left it, you've got the app on your phone, and through Bluetooth, you can find your laptop. You know, and even in this world of micro mobility, basically, you know, my house, sometimes I'll leave it in the bedroom. Sometimes I'll leave it on the patio table or something like that. And I'm like, what did I just do with it? You know, it's just an example of how you could actually use this tile feature, even now when you're not traveling very much, but you will be one day, right? But tile is 100% in our new Elite products. So that's kind of great. And then this other idea of just, you know, notebooks and batteries. Batteries are still one of the huge, or I should say battery life is one of the huge requirements for notebooks in general. Of course, it will always be up there in like the top 3 things that you need in a notebook. And what we have in our Smart Buy SKUs, which is our off the shelf pre-configured SKUs, is this long life battery. So it charges 50% of your battery in 30 minutes. So a great feature if you're on the run, you got to charge real quick. Jumping on a plane, you're sitting at a coffee shop for a minute and you want to charge up before your next meeting. HP Fast Charge that we offer in our products is really, really handy. And then you've also got kind of a solution in the systems as well. So you can press on your little battery icon and this battery mode will pop up. And I know I've used it like late at night. I'm sitting in front of the TV trying to do some emails or finish something up, or maybe I'm just doing something personal. And then it comes up and says, oh, you need to charge. Well, I don't feel like getting up yet. So I can change and adjust this to get a little bit more time out of it by putting it to best battery life. But then, you know, if I'm working really hard and I need bright screens and I need all this stuff, I can put it to best performance. So you've got a little bit of manageability there as well, with being able to extend, you know, at critical times, the battery life yourself with this battery mode. And then I think one of the biggest things that is important is, again, this collaboration thing that we're doing, being on video, hearing things. And we've put a few new features into our latest G8 of Elite products that we're going to just talk about real quick. But just know that even in our sound and our speakers, we've got Bose speakers in our laptops. So you're getting really great sound quality. And then we've also got this HP sound calibration. So this has come out, and this is interesting for the fact that it's basically for the end customer, so the end user, you and me, when we're listening to stuff through our laptops. So it's kind of like taking a hearing test, because the way I hear is different than the way you hear. It's different than the way Lisa and everybody, you know, other people on the line hear. So what this does is it takes you through a hearing test in a sense, and tests your right ear, tests your left ear, because even those hear differently. And it will set your profile for how you hear best. And when you're, you know, different things coming through, it will adjust so that goes to the level of where you need to be, because you've taken this test and it's adjusting for you yourself. So it's kind of like an ear print with how you hear things. So HP sound calibration is a really cool thing, as well as dynamic audio. Now, again, that melding of work and life, people are listening to music, they're taking training, they're on calls, they're, listening to something, a video from YouTube on their system or something like that. What the dynamic audio does is through AI, it will adjust the equalizers to make whatever that file format is and that file coming through to you adjust so that it's optimized for the best sound quality. So it will do that behind the scenes. It's based on AI. We've got so much AI coolness in our products that, that's what HP engineering does. They do some really, really neat things behind the scenes so that you're, again, getting the best experience with how you're using your PCs these days. And that's new for our G8 series. But we have introduced Dragonfly, and I'll show you that one again real quick. We've got 1000 series, which is basically our 13 and 14 inch. I don't know if you've ever seen, it's what we call an X360 design. It completely goes around. You can do touch and pen with it. Any of the 360 designs are already pen enabled for sure. You can get SureView on this, but it's really a sharp, cool looking, very light. In our 1000 series is a very light form factor in a 13 and 14 inch. And then we've got this 800 series, which I kind of equate for as a, to some extent, kind of like a fleet type portfolio. And we've introduced something even better within this portfolio that I wanted to touch on to kind of round it out. Okay. But we've got the 800 series, which is your first entry into Elite, and then the thousands. And then we've got kind of what we call a little bit more of our premium stuff with the Dragonfly. But when we also talk about, I need to do a shout out for sure, because we've also got AMD as an option. Now, the performance on the AMD and their latest stuff is great. So we've got in that 800 series, we've got Intel as well as an AMD 13, 14, and 15 inch product. So something, I'm not sure if you've ever tried it, but we love it. They've made great strides. It's wonderful. It's the same chassis as an 800 series Intel product. So, same look and feel. It's just based on AMD Ryzen Pro processors. And then, like I was saying, in that 800 series space, we've got some new naming, and it's called Aero. And Aero, really what it is it's trying to make sure people understand what it stands for is light, strong, fast, a really nice design and stuff like that. A little bit different than your normal clamshell type design. But the biggest thing is that it's a half a pound lighter than our normal product. So we've got an 840, okay, and then we've got an 840 Aero product, and they're a half a pound difference. And again, understanding your end users, or everybody in your organization and what they need. You might have some really big, still what we call mobile trailblazers that are on the road or going from big building to big building for meetings. They're traveling a lot. Mobile trailblazers, that half a pound makes a huge difference. But what's nice about it being in the 800 series is now we've got an X360 13 inch in that space. We've got a 14 inch, a regular 13 clamshell, a 14 and a 15 inch, and now we have Aero. And for customers that are really looking to travel a lot, but really maybe they're not going to step up into that 1000 series, the Aero product, with being that much lighter, makes a huge difference. So we love that it's been brought into our portfolio as well. So anything that anybody needs, depending on how they use it, we've got it in that 800 series. We've also got Aero product. Oopsies, before I go there. We've also got a 635 Aero. So again, in that 600 space that I talked about, we've got an AMD based Aero product as well. So same light, cool, nice design and everything like that for that real mobile in that 600 class, type product. So Aero doesn't mean Intel or AMD. It really means just light, thin, and great design. But the coolest, still kind of the coolest that we've got is this Dragonfly product. So I'm not sure if you've seen a Dragonfly. This is a PV unit. It's the only reason it's got a big sticker on it. But it comes, we've just introduced the G2. So we've had a G1 out for quite a while, and now we've got a G2. And you'll see, it's got the nice elite branding of HP on it, but it's this Dragonfly blue. It's gorgeous. It's 2.2 pounds, super light, the smallest one that we've got. It's just, it really makes a statement, and it's got great features and great battery life. We've just updated it with 11th gen processors, so it's got all the latest and greatest. I talked about the weight, that's wonderful. And all those AI-based experiences with the sound and things like that are also included in this. And then the next one is this Dragonfly Max. So it's the same idea as this, but it comes in what we call a sparkling black. Now, I haven't even seen the sparkling black yet, so I can't wait to see it. I'm sure it's beautiful because this product and this class of product just really stands out. But that will be coming in a sparkling black color. But it's got a 5-megapixel camera because, again, doing this kind of stuff is important. So we've updated that one with a 5-megapixel camera. It's also got a 4th world-facing mic. Now, why are mics important? Well, when you're using your laptop as a collaborative type tool, maybe you're sitting in a conference room and everybody's talking, or maybe I'm sitting here and the delivery guy's out there and I'm taking a look, but I'm still talking. The mic actually picks up your voice that much better, so that anywhere where you're walking around it gets clarity in what I'm saying and speaking. So world-facing mics, that's what that means. Anywhere around the laptop, it's able to pick up your voice. And then the really coolest thing is this HP IEs that we're introducing. So it's a low blue light filter. That's the actual display. It will filter out the blue light, and that comes 100% in the Max. And then you still get 4G, 5G, and great battery life and really light. But that's some of our newest and coolest type products. And we've got pretty much everything for anybody. So we hope that you like them. And I think that I'm done, guys. That's kind of the latest and greatest from us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nancy. It looks like we did have a question in the chat. I'm not sure, Lisa Messner, if you'd like to come off mute, or Nancy, if you'd like to answer, but Chrissy had asked, dragonflies, are they more geared for personal use?
No, totally for work and stuff like that. It's just that they're light and thin, and again, they're different in the color and stuff like that, but it's totally a commercial product. You can of course use it for personal. We're happy to do that too, but no, it's not a consumer product. It's a commercial product. It's got all of our HP security in it. Soup to nuts, this is a commercial product, just like everything else we've got in our series. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, feel free to ask any other questions in the chat. HP will be on with us moving into the next part of our call as well. So, but otherwise, if you do have questions, and again, if we can't answer them at this point in time, we will happily follow up with you after the call is finished. As a reminder, we are going to do that drawing for the grill at the end of the call. So I have been just kind of taking a running tally of everybody that's been joining the call during this time. So I'll continue to do that in case anybody joins us late, but make sure to stick with us till the end so you have the chance to win that awesome grill from Weber. But with that, I am going to pass it over to Lauren Rouleau from Weber Grills to do the Weber grill instruction. Nancy, if you wouldn't mind, just stop sharing your screen for me. And then Weber will be able to start that presentation for us. So Lauren, whenever you are ready.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being a part of letting us be a part of the event today. We're very excited to join all of you. And my name is Lauren Rouleau, and I'm with Weber Grill Restaurants. We are joining you from our Schaumburg location in Illinois. And we happen to have the luxury of an indoor grilling kitchen, so we can actually do this year round and share with you all of the wonderful tips and tricks that are out there about grilling on charcoal and on gas. There's just a couple
Sorry, everybody. It looks like Lauren just, oh, there you are.
I saw it freeze. I'm like every monitor that we've got. I'm like, oh God, hold on. Sorry about that. Okay. So as I was saying, just a couple of housekeeping things. We really want you to ask as many questions about grilling that you like. It doesn't have to be specifically about the things that we're to be showing you today. It can be about, smoking or, chef's preferences or, sauces or whatever. So just type those into the chat and I will actually be making sure to interject those to Chef as we're kind of going throughout the whole class. In addition to that, if you happen to be grilling along, I would recommend that you take out your meat out of the refrigerator. We're going to let that get to be room temperature, and we'll talk about that later. And for those of you that are going to be doing it maybe a little bit after this, which is probably what we recommend, because that way you can get all the tips and tricks that we're talking about today, and then answer your questions. You can do that probably at the end of class, review everything, and then you'll be able to grill later tonight. I see we got some people that are talking about the wonderful grills that they've got. We love that. Why does everybody just tell us what they like or preferences grilling? Are you a gas griller or are you a charcoal griller? It's just nice for us to know. And without further ado, I will turn it over to Chef Klaus. He has been our Grill Academy chef for quite a few years now, and I've had the pleasure of working with him on a lot of our different events. He loves it when I make him grill in the snow, because I don't know if you know this, but Weber grills were invented to grill 365 days of the year. So I will let him take over from here, and we'll be excited to kind of talk about what you're grilling today.
Well, thanks, Lauren. Really appreciate the introduction. Folks, welcome. We are here at the Weber Grill Restaurant in Schaumburg, and I'm really excited to be a part of this program we have out here today. We're going to have an awesome time. We're going to talk about some tips and tricks. We're going to start off with how to light up our grills properly. We're going to talk about charcoal as well, too. We're going to talk about pellet grills. Definitely put out those questions, and Lauren is going to definitely feed them to me as we're going to try to answer as many of them as we can all throughout the day. So as we were talking before, it's like we are going to be grilling today with this beautiful steak. I'm going to give a little cut over here. Take a look at it. This beautiful bone-in ribeye steak, nice little 20-ouncer. We also be serving that with 22. We're going to be also be serving that today with some grilled shrimp. And there's going to be a few tips as far as whether we're going to be doing a direct sear or a reverse sear, and we'll cover all that as we go on. First thing, of course, is going to be lighting up our grills, right? Got to get everything nice and hot. So now the grill season is definitely here and in full swing. Don't worry about the small little deep freezes we had here in the Midwest. It goes away pretty quickly, and it really doesn't affect us since we are grilling 4 seasons long as is, right?
Yep.
So gas grilling today for equipment, and what we're using is a 4-burner Summit. And as always, we want to recommend safety. So first tip number 1 with lighting up your gas grills is to lift the lid, right? Believe it or not, I always hear stories about that every grill season about some injuries of somebody with a little minor explosion, right? And gas building up here in the cavity here, they go and spark it up. We don't want that to happen.
No, we want to keep eyebrows, eyelashes, bangs if you rock those.
Yeah, absolutely, right? So our gas grills here, usually from Weber, all have some sort of automatic igniter system. Once you have your gas turned on, whether it's propane or natural gas, we go ahead and start to gas up. So turn it on. As you turn it over to the point where it starts ignition, listen for the gas for about 5 to 10 seconds. Let me go ahead and spark it up. Now, I understand we're talking about wanting to work with a clean grill. So what you can do at the beginning, if you want to turn them all the way on high, and then let it go for about 10, 15 minutes, get nice and hot, you can scrape everything down. But the reality is that we got to set our grilling zones. And that's talking about grilling with direct grilling and indirect grilling. Direct grilling is going to be right over the main flame, the main heat, and then indirect is going to be your cold zone. That's where we're going to be able to finish off our steaks today. So in this case, it comes with a sear station where the center grates are going to be here turned on good medium high, sear grate on as well. And we're going to turn our side burners off here. And that means our direct grilling is going to be right in the center, and the indirect will be on the left and right hand side.
Well, Chef, what if I don't have that big fancy grill? What if I have horizontal burners?
Good question.
Or
This
only
happens
2.
quite a bit. These are all vertical burners. where you flavorize your bars, you'll see where the burners or the gas tubes are coming out. So if you have the horizontal ones, what I usually recommend is to have the back ones on, medium high to high, and the front ones off. Now, another question we always have for grills is whatever it takes you to get to about the 450 to 500 degree sweet spot in temperature for grilling, for high direct grilling, that's what we're going to be going with today. If you have a 6 burner as well, you could also do the same thing as where you have your center grates on, or you can go left side on, medium, the center off, and the right side on as well too. A great way to set up for your grill zones.
Oh, we have a
So,
couple of questions.
shoot.
Hank's question is my favorite. He wants to know what kind of wine do you recommend while heating up the grill?
well, it's kind of like a core stout, right? Because we're gonna be finishing off with this ribeye steak. So I'm gonna finish strong with like a Cabernet Sauvignon. Maybe if you want to start off a little bit lighter, if you want to go a little Chardonnay, if you want to go Pinot
I would
Grigio,
say,
kind of start it
we
off.
usually say pop the hood, so maybe you want pop some champagne,
Maybe a little mimosa if you want to go that route.
right?
And
And then Jeff also asked,
yes,
is that gas or charcoal?
this is a gas grill here.
Yeah.
A lot of charcoal lovers out there. We're big charcoal lovers here as well too.
Yeah.
That'll be the next thing we're going to talk about, sparking up your charcoal grill. Now, obviously, don't have one out here, but as I do for most of my charcoal grills, we always light up using these chimneys. It's a great way to keep your get an even cooking of your charcoal here before you dump them. And even if it's not a Weber one out there, there's other versions you can go for. You can make your own here using like an empty hot coffee can. But basically, we're going to go and fill the cavity here with our briquettes, roughly about an inch or two from the top. This large chimney will give you a good solid hour and a half worth of grilling. I've done it with my classes so many times, so I definitely have tried and tested that one quite a bit. And now to spark this up here, the end all be all favorite that's been out there has always been like what, lighter fluid and
Oh.
yeah, right.
Yeah, we
So-
recommend not using lighter.
Not advocating that really anymore,
No.
because no matter what, there's gonna be some sort of a chemical flavor kind of left there with it. It's like cooking over raw charcoal. It's the same thing. There's carbon coming off it, and we want to avoid any additional chemicals in our food as at all possible. So we also have these lighter cubes. As you see here, what it is a odorless, tasteless in your food, and waterproof fuel source. Paraffin wax bound lighter cube that sparks up really fast. 2 of these do a great job for underneath your chimney to go and spark that one up. Also great for campfires, great for your fire pit out back. The newest one that's out there on the market also as well are the rapid fires. And these are all like covered in paper, so you don't have to worry about the little white plastic pieces kind of falling over the spot. You just light the paper itself right underneath it, and it's good to go. So charcoal grill, top grate is off. You have the charcoal grate down below. This down on the charcoal grate, loaded with your briquettes. Get that sparked up, and then of course it's going to go ahead and start smoking a lot, right? It's going to take roughly about 10 to 15 minutes, maybe 15 to 20, all depends. As far as the heavy smoke to dissipate, what we're looking for is some like really clear heat. So the heavy smoke's going to be gone. You see the hot blue and orange flames coming out of the top of it, and your charcoal inside the top is going to be more black with gray tips. Misconception out there that you need to have it grayed and ashed over, then you lost half your cook life already. And then when it's kind of time to dump your charcoal, now you got a couple options, right? You can just go ahead, just dump it right in there, but you want to make sure you want to establish your grilling zones again. A couple ways to set up. Same way like on the gas grill, either right in the center, we call that a bullseye, or you can go in the back half of it, or you can go on the left side, right side, and leave your center as far as no charcoal to be indirect.
So you're telling me that I don't light all the charcoal on fire and just dump it all over the whole bottom?
No, Lauren,
Oh.
we don't need hot, because all that is going to make your steak, whatever piece of meat you're grilling out there, it's going to turn into a piece of charcoal before you even reach that temperature you want to get inside, right? You want to make sure you
Yes.
have a little patience. We have a little patience. We get the main sear, the burn there is just to really just to sear off the steak, get those beautiful marks on there, get that caramelization, and we're going to let it finish off nice and slow on the indirect side of it while maintaining just that beautiful crust on the outside.
Yeah, Jay commented that he hasn't used lighter fluid in 4 years because he's got the chimney. It is definitely a useful tool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's other options that are out there as well too. They have these other little campfire starter, little logs as well too. You can put underneath there. People have used wadded up newspaper and cardboard. It's not my favorite because it seems to really ash up and kind of fly around as well, and you have to keep on feeding it. But this is definitely a great option for you guys, right? So once you establish your charcoal is all lit up and you establish your grill zones, as you dump it, put the top right back on, and you want to go ahead and make sure your cover's on. The damper holes up on top. For this type of grilling, leave it completely open on top and on the bottom of the grill. That's going to allow the most amount of oxygen to come in there and feed that fire. So oxygen obviously feeds fire, and we want to make sure that internal temperature is great. Now, we always want to start with our really hot grates on both charcoal and gas, because if you always start too early, just turn the grill on and you throw the steak on there, that grate's going to actually be heating up and cooking into the steak itself. And no matter what type of oil and stuff you use, that steak's going to be stuck to it. It could be ripping off the meat on the grill.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Don't want that. So let's start talking about what we have in front of us. Talk a little about steak and
The good stuff.
the good stuff, right? So as you can tell, you have received a vacuum sealed, we call it cryovac in the industry, vacuum sealed portion cut steak. And what that is it's actually wet aging. Wet aging means it's going to be free of all air, and it's going to be just tenderized in its own blood and juices. Now it's a minimum of 28 days. Wet aged steaks is what we offer, and you are able to go even longer than that. It actually prolongs the shelf life by having it void of any air. Now the other side of aging your steaks is going to be the dry age. Now dry age means to be larger whole subprimal cuts, which mean that this comes off a giant rib loin, and it'll be a lot fattier and not so trimmed in a humidity and temperature controlled environment, where it's going to be either hung or it's going to be up on racks, and it's going to be there for at least 3 weeks to 6 weeks, and it's really just going to drying up. And we're going to have a lot of that moisture is going to be evaporating out of that steak itself. Now, honestly, it's going to be a little funky in that room. You got to think about it, just kind of sitting out there. It's just kind of like back in the old days when it was not much of an option to extend your life of any of the meat you have. And but that's all right, because when they go to butcher it, then they trim off roughly about a half inch to an inch out around it to get to that really tender meat that's down below it. Okay, so we're gonna open up our cryovac steaks.
You gotta give a shout out to Linz.
Yeah,
They're supplier here in the Midwest, so it does come right here locally. All the cows and everything. It's pretty cool. And you can order them online, because I said it actually rolls in perfectly. Because I was gonna say, chef, like, what do what do I look for at the butcher or the grocery store? Because I'm not gonna have you or Linz to go ahead and show me the best cut of meat that I can grill at home. Now, granted, you can order these through our website, hint, hint, wink, wink, if you ever want to get the same kind of steaks that we use here in the restaurant. But if I'm looking for them on my own, what do I need to look for?
okay. Excellent. Yeah. So with the ribeye steaks, what you're going to look for first of all is, like, if it's going to be usually plastic wrap. A lot of times they have in cellophane over on a little foam base to it. Is to make sure that the color of the steak is great, right? We're looking for nice red colors here with it. If it's going to be cryovac vacuum sealed, make sure that seal isn't broken, because then air has gone into it, and that could really affect the flavor of the steak itself. I always say that if it's gray, stay away. If it's green, run. Well, honestly,
Green.
yeah.
So
Watch
Green Eggs and
always the
Ham is not
dates.
your favorite book.
Yeah. Watch the dates on there. They have the use by dates here with it. That's usually when the great sales are out in play. Then we know that they've had it out there for a while. It's probably been already, processed, taken out its packaging, and it might already be getting a little bit older, right? So I'm always looking at fresh cut as much as possible. Now the ribeye steak, what you want to look here for, all this fat. This is the fat separating the different muscles here of the ribeye, right? This is the actual eye, the round of it, the dorsus. This is the complexus muscle, and the complexus muscle is right over here, and this is the sinalis muscle. So all this fat here is kind of separating these muscles here. This is all something that's going to be cooked and rendered down. It's going to get nice and soft, and all that beautiful fat that's here, the marbleization here, the little spider veins looking fat over here, that adds to the steak's flavor, because fat is
Flavor.
Absolutely. It's one of our favorite sayings because that's really what's a big thing about the steak, the ribeye steak, is that it's so delicious. This is a bone-in steak. There's a lot of questions about bone-in versus bone-out. The bone-in is going to give you a little additional protection of fat and flavor as well too, as it's also kind of being connected here to the bone. If you're going to have, you got to think about some of the tomahawks out there. It's like the tomahawk is essentially this same steak here, but with the bone extended, maybe an additional, 8 inches or so out.
Yeah,
right?
it's very popular right now because it's definitely like a showpiece, right?
It
But
is.
it's the same
It's a big
flavor
wow
as this
factor.
steak.
A big wow factor. One other thing to look at the store as well too is how trim you want your steak, right? You want some fat up on the top of it here as well too, but you don't want a ton of it. Remember you're paying a price per pound, so that's the other thing I'm looking for is a nice thin cut. Usually our specs are about a 1/4 inch fat cap at the most. That includes for like our strip steaks. Strip steaks is like the next level down, which has a nice balance of lean meat as well as some fat content as well. And then you go right to the fillet. Now the fillet itself, it's going to be, your most expensive cut out there. It's the leanest meat, lean and mean. And you want to go with, minimal fat on there whatsoever. Now talking about the different grades, if you're not familiar with that as well too, it's not like you're saying that, one specific type of steer or cattle is going to be prone to the higher quality steaks. There's a lot of contributing factors to it, whether it's the diet, how it's been raised, if it's going to be, grass-fed or whatnot. But when it's butchered, there's actual grading that's going to be done at the slaughterhouses where they're saying at what level that steak is. So we're talking about the marbleization. This is going to be, this is a select reserve steak right here. So this is being closer to the, a choice steak. Now, if you get a second to the prime steak onto it, you're going to see ridiculous amount of more marbleization. I mean, just lately right now in Costco, is going to be Costco is going to have like this Wagyu steaks out there, which is going to be absolutely just like riddled here with marbleization. Somebody's gonna think that's, oh my God, that's too much fat on there, but that all it's going to render down as you're grilling it. Okay. Now, a steak like this, it's going to take us roughly about 10 to 15 minutes maximum to grill, and we're going to make sure you're talking about housekeeping is about pulling your steak out ahead of time, and we want to put it on the counter right in your kitchen. Let it rest there for about half an hour, up to an hour is totally fine. Doesn't need to be totally room temperature, but the point is to take that ice chill off it. Because if you're gonna be going through a ice cold environment right into a hot grilling environment like that, all the proteins really seize up, and it's not going to be as tender as it would be if you were to let it rest a little bit.
So I
Highly
shouldn't
recommend
take it
that.
directly out of the freezer and throw it on the grill, is what you're saying.
I wouldn't recommend that. No, not at all. So that's why we always try to do that ahead of time. All right. It comes out of the package, might be a little moist. You can always pat it down with a paper towel. I have a side towel there itself. And as far as your combination, you're pairing with this one is your little surf and turf is some shrimp.
Heck yeah.
So the shrimp that I have here, if you can tell with the green and the garlic that's on there, I actually gave it a little bit of an herb marinade. It's not what you had received, but you received a pound of some delicious shrimp. And
Well, Chef, what is the marinade?
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is something we can share with them.
It's a go-to for me. It really is. So like when it talking about for shrimp or for vegetables, chicken, for general marinating, this is like a straight up mixture of a canola olive oil mixture, which is about 75% canola, 25% olive oil with fresh garlic in there. Got a little rosemary, some thyme, and oregano. And it's almost like making a pesto. So you're going to be pureeing it up in your food blender, hand mixer, food processor. And it's not going to be as thick. It's going to be a little bit more a liquidy combination with the oil itself. So you can actually spread it and toss it. And that's what we did here with this shrimp. So I just want to give you another option for home and see what you can do with that. Otherwise, the difference is, between like the shell on shrimp and then the shell off shrimp is a big question that's out there a lot of times. You'll go to the store, you'll see either jumbo shrimp or you're going to see colossal shrimp, and otherwise you're going to see a little number by it, right? If it's going to say like 1315, 3150, or U15, so U8. All this has to do, the numbers are about the size of the shrimp.
Oh, not the price.
Not the price.
Or where they came from.
No.
Oh.
The size of the shrimp, the lower the number it is, the larger it's going to be, right? So I believe the 1315 is the ones he had all received. And if you were to start going down, so like we're talking U10s, U8s, we're talking the giant prawns. I mean, you're almost going to get down to the lobster category.
I say they
Anything
become,
below that.
they become their own individual meal.
Exactly. At that point, you're just eating those. So if you're going to get the shell on shrimp, it's going to save you a little bit of money, and you have an option to use those shells for making a nice seafood broth. If you want to make a seafood shrimp bisque as well too, that's always great to use. These have been already cleaned there for you, but just a little tip there for you about how to do that is you would actually take your shrimp, shell is on, take some regular shears, kitchen shears or whatnot, right between the shell and the flesh, and just kind of cut all the way down to the last segment. Makes it a lot easier to really open it up, get that shell off it. You should keep the tail on for presentation, and then just kind of clean out that center. You know, that's that dietary tract, the digestive tract. We gotta get that cleaned out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did not include skewers now with your package, but what I recommend here is to skewer your shrimp rather than have to worry about 15, 16 shrimp on the grill to turn around. Just makes it a lot easier, I think, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We say smarter, not harder.
Yes, we try.
We try.
We all try to do that, right?
Absolutely. So I'm going to use two skewers here for these shrimp, because what happens a lot of times with shrimp is that they curl up on you really hard, right? And we want to have some even grilling, kind of keep it shape as well. And also, it's like I hate overcooking shrimp or getting them overcooked at the restaurant when I go to it. So we're going to make sure that we're going to try to finish these off at the same time here as the steak, which means these are not even to go on until that steak goes more to its second half of grilling, we should say.
One of the things I really like about the skewers method is that if you, with a pound of shrimp that you guys had, you could be sitting there, like he was saying, turning over every single shrimp. With this method, you really get the opportunity to kind of like grill them equally and then quickly, and then you can grill a lot of them if you know, at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, because you can't have more than just, one individual is going to have more than just one shrimp. I mean, it's going to end up being like 5, 6, right?
Exactly.
So you got a family of 4 out here. That's a lot of shrimp you got to have to worry about. Okay.
Absolutely.
So just double checking on your grills right now. If you are grilling with us, let's make sure where our temperatures are set. We're looking about 450 to 500 degrees on both the charcoal and the gas grill. I'm right at that 500 mark right now on my thermometer. That means we're going to be about ready here to get our steak on.
Sure, fine.
And so we're talking now about seasoning our steak. Now,
Oh, wait, we had one more thing.
shoot.
Bamboo skewers versus metal skewers.
Okay.
They're both good, right?
Yeah, both are solid. The wooden skewers, it's not going to give you any additional benefit with that. Is that the metal skewer is actually going to transfer some heat. It's going to help maybe cook quicker. You got to think about it. The metal is going to conduct the heat. But if you're using anything bamboo skewers or anything else wood, you want to make sure you soak those skewers really well. For these bamboo skewers, no more than really half an hour, submerged in just basic water. Cedar planks, so it'll take you at least an hour to 2. You got to put some weight on it because they're otherwise floating up on top. So it's a great question out there, right? Now, to season our steaks and our food here, we're going to use some of that oil blend we were just talking about. It's the 75% canola, 25% olive oil.
So Lisa had actually asked earlier, and I told her to sit tight because we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
She said, should you put oil on the steaks when you grill? I had quite a fire one time when I put oil on my steak.
Well, we don't want to have it submerged. We don't want it dripping in the oil by any means, okay? We always recommend doing a light coat of oil on your steak, and just to make sure that your grill is not set at like 700 degrees, right? The reason why we're doing it on the steak rather than the grill itself is because it can give you 3 benefits. One, it's going to help the seasoning adhere to the steak. 2, it's going to add to the caramelization, the searing, as that oil conducts the heat to close off the pores on that steak. It creates a Maillard effect, which is the caramelization. The third benefit to it is that it's also going to help prevent sticking up on the grill. The flare-ups that I'm hearing a lot of times is where people they're spraying, they're taking a hot pan spray, release spray, whatever, kind of right up on the grill itself. It's like fireball action, right? Dissipates before you even get to use it. The other one is taking oil in a towel, dip it in the sopping oil there and just kind of rubbing it down on your grill. I get it. When I scrape my grill, before I start grilling and turn it on, then I'll take a little bit of oil just to kind of clean some of the old ashes off it. But I mean, chances are you're gonna have to get additional flare up and it's gonna be burning all the hair off it. But it grows back. Trust me, it
Yeah.
happens.
Which we're trying to give you as many tips today about keeping your eyebrows, your eyelashes, your arm hair, not having any fires.
But it all makes it so exciting.
Well, I needed the drama of grilling
Yeah.
is amazing, right? Let's just let it be the smell and the beautiful steak that you get at the end.
The beautiful flavor and the seasoning, the ambiance, the gorgeous view outside. All right. So anyway, and the food.
And the food. It's all about the food.
I
So
got
you
a
were
couple of
talking
spices.
about the oil. I know you're just talking about the spices there, but with the oil, what you said earlier with the marinade that it was a canola olive oil blend, right?
Right.
So what kind of oil are we using on the steak?
That's that canola olive oil blend.
Oh.
So the question otherwise here for is why aren't we just using extra virgin olive oil, right?
Well, I mean, as being Italian, I love extra virgin olive, but I already know the answer to this question.
Well, you gotta think about that. The cold pressed, from cold pressed olives is where extra virgin olive oil is, right? And it has a low burn temp, which means that at low flash point, it burns quickly and it'll give an off-putting flavor. So that's why it's only good for for quick sauteing. Great for salads. Just raw up on there. Great for the tomatoes and basil and the mozzarella for a nice caprese salad. But really for high temperature cooking, it's not optimal. You want to go for something with higher flash points, which is most vegetable oils.
Oh, or grapeseed oil.
Linseed oil,
I said vegetable. Sunflower oil?
sunflower oil. Yep. Avocado oil is a big favorite out
Avocado
there
oil.
right now. Soy, peanut oil.
Peanut oil.
Anything along those lines is going to be much more favorable against the high heat. So that's what we're using here today. Again, just a light coat of oil. It's not sodden by any means, right?
Right.
Y'all receive the Chicago steak seasoning as well. And I'm gonna throw this out at you as well too, is our classic barbecue. I like to use a little bit of barbecue spice. Again, you don't have to, but this is just a little tip for me. I added sometimes like a little barbecue spice on my shrimp. And I'm not gonna glaze or anything with sauce, but just using that spice itself is just underrated. Gives a nice
love
little
it on shrimp.
combination. Yeah, a little paprika, a little cumin, a little chili powder. Those flavors are all going to be great to go with that.
That always brings up the good point where it's like, to me, we provide you with these recipes on how to make everything on the grill,
Mhm.
but they call it the culinary arts, right? So it's about following the recipe until you're comfortable with it and then experimenting. So maybe you have some lemon pepper seasoning, or you want to try it home, or you want to try, something else.
Actually, Lauren, I had a gentleman here was a retired fireman at this last class here on Sunday. And he says back at the firehouse, what they sometimes would do, they take all like little random bottles of spices and stuff out, they all throw them in a bag like that and just mix it up like that. And boom, it had it's like your everything bagel spice. You
Oh
know,
my gosh.
How else will they come up with that as well too, right? So they end up like,
Yeah.
throwing everything in a bag there just to go ahead and mix it up. And like that was their rub.
There you go.
Yeah, creativity, So Chicago steak spice, anytime you're seasoning anything, folks, I do not recommend using a spoon or just dumping it on there. Always a little bit shake, or if you use your fingers, we want to go about 4 to 6 inches above the steak to get more of universal, even coating of seasoning. Remember, you could always add more spice to it, but you can't take it away. So we're going to go and just do a nice little drizzle here. If it falls on the side of it, it's okay on the plate. All right?
Looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So nice coat like that. Give a light pat down. That's about it. We're going to flip it over. We're going to do the other side as well.
While you're doing that, I have a question from Chaz. Is there any benefit to poking holes in the steak with a fork before marinating it to have the flavor seep in? Or will that cause harm or provide no benefit?
It's a mix and match. Like you can't do that. Like I've done that a lot of times with roast as well too. And I'm cutting little slits in there, putting whole garlic cloves in there as well. I only recommend it really more on the larger steaks, larger cuts. On the smaller steaks, I just think that it's also going to make that steak cook a little bit quicker onto it, and it gives another output for releasing some of the juices. So, poking holes, I'm not going to do it into the smaller steaks, and I don't think I would do it on this ribeye either. So
But,
again,
like,
folks, there's a lot of different techniques out there for it, and it's going to be up to you to kind of plug and play and try out and experiment.
Well, as I say, you have
R&D.
talked about the jacquarding method, which is exactly that, because
Mhm.
that's a specific kind of meat that you'd
Yep.
want to do that with, right?
Yeah, we're talking about jacquarding, right? I use that for a lot of different things. Like when I'm But I'm gonna pound out any type of meat as well to like make roulades or anything like out of insert rounds or top rounds. I think skirt steak is a great one. You could go ahead and jacquard as well too, because that one tends to be a little bit stringy, right? But if you're doing that, you're going to marinate that skirt steak anyway, whether it's going to be more like the Southwest style with a little bit of cilantro and some citrus, or if you want to go on the Asian side of it, ginger soy marinade, right? This shoulder clod, we're talking about the flat iron steak. Those are another
Oh, yeah.
option to go with it. And some of the other great steak that's actually really underrated is like a hanger steak. You know, they call it a hanging tenderloin because it has its really flavorful cut of meat out there. It has some nice nice marbleization in there, but it's considered pretty close kind of what a tenderloin comes out with a flavor. So yeah, jacquarding is an option out there for it, but it's only for specific meats.
Okay. Well, let's get this steak on the grill.
Steak's going on the grill.
Yeah.
Okay? Yes.
Let's do that.
All right. So 500 degrees, right? We're going direct heat.
Okay.
We're going to go here for about 2 minutes on one side. And then we're going to rotate it about 90 degrees. Pick a new spot because we want to get those beautiful Instagram ready.
You know me
hashtag
so
marks, right?
well.
Yeah, it's one of Lauren's favorites. All right. So remember, right here in the center. So we're going to go here. Have the bone kind of facing out a little bit because we don't want to get too much char in it. I put a little pressure to make sure that it's kind of touching at all points. And then it's be ready to go. So I don't have my timer with me, but guess what, folks? I got the newest invention out there for it. It's not the Siri, it's not the Alexa, it's the Lauren. Lauren, please set a timer for 2 minutes.
Your timer has been set for 2 minutes. I always make fun of him because he has like this old school, like little
Don't
Dollar
judge.
Tree time. I'm like, we have technology these days. Let's use
Don't
it.
judge. It works.
All right, it started.
Ton of different options out there. So, same thing goes with your charcoal grill, right? It's the same spot. You'd be going right over the main coals, right over the main flame, right? So, one of the benefits that I always see with the charcoal grill or the gas grill is automatically you get more of the smoky flavor, right? So, a lot of people ask me, Lauren, it's like, Lauren, you know, how can I get that type of smokiness on my gas grill,
Right, because they want the best of both worlds.
Best of both worlds. You can kind of see behind me. We got all sorts of assortments of different wood chips and wood chunks over here that we use for smoking in general. But what I like to use sometimes here for the gas grills for just to get that smoky flavor, you can do that with steaks as well, is using like one of these smoker boxes. Stainless steel construction, nice and strong. You soak your wood chips, not the big chunks, but the wood chips in water. You can use the apple juice with it as well if you wanted to, with some sort of a cranberry juice. It's your option.
Really?
And you want to drip it off after it's been well soaked. Add it to your chips. Add your chips into the box. Put this directly over the main flame or between the top of the grate and the actual burner itself. Let it start to heat up and smoke before you start grilling your food. So even if it's in a short time frame, like with steaks and burgers, you can still get that same type of smoky flavor inside there as well. Now that's how you would also do smoking on the gas grill, right?
Yeah, which is an amazing process. You know, I know there's like we talked about technology earlier with all the computers, as Nancy was telling us. So it's kind of interesting to know that like technology has also come into play with grilling. You know, all these different gadgets and things that are out there. That's really fascinating to me.
Yep.
So like the smoke fire grill that you were raffling off at the end here. You know, that's all about wood pellets, and I think that's interesting.
Yeah. And when we do our smoking classes here, we use all three pieces of equipment between our charcoal grills, our gas grill, and then a smoke fire, as well as the Weber smoker mount.
Timer
Timer is set.
2 minutes has left.
All right, guys. So we had the steak on there. Now we got the good sear on it. I'm gonna go and give you a little show from here. Got a good view on that one?
Oh yeah, that
folks?
looks good.
You can see that from a mile away, right?
Yeah, those are great.
You want to go a little closer on that one? A little closer there for you.
There you go.
There you go. As I'm
Don't worry, there's
dripping
no
over this tile
dogs here
floor.
to jump up and grab that out of your tongue.
Well, that's what I can think about, with my pup at home. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rotate that one about 90 degrees, and we'll put that for 1 more minute. Lauren, please set timer for 1.
Your timer has been set.
And that's where it's going to get the nice cross sear mark on it.
That was
so-
a new spot, right?
A new spot on the grill, exactly, because that initial spot where we had used all the energy, all the heat has already been used. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you go ahead and pick that new spot to get additional sear on. So we're doing these 2 to 3 minutes on the one side, 2 minutes on the other side of it, and then we're going to move it over on the indirect. And folks, you have to trust it. All right, you have to trust your grill, the times that you have, and not always be drawn to kind of peeking and kind of seeing what it is. You're going to have good smoke coming out, right? It's just light, the light white smoke here coming off, and that's a good smoke, right? If it's going to be dark and billowing, then yeah, you probably had a thermal event. But the fact of the matter is, every time you pop that hood, folks, you lose about 200 degrees internal, right?
And
So if you're looking,
you're not cooking.
you're not cooking. All right.
Yeah.
A little more enthusiasm. If you're looking,
Sorry,
you're not
if you're
cooking.
looking, you're not cooking.
Absolutely. These are all designed to kind of work like a convection. Now, all the heat is kind of
Timer.
circulating inside of it, coming right down back again. And you need that entire, like a surrounding type of heat to really get the right type of grilling on it. Okay.
Your 1 minute timer has expired.
1 minute's up, folks. All right. So we're going to go ahead and take this now. You see, every time you open up the grill, you get a little more like the flame there because we had a lot of the fat starting to render down. So kind of bringing it down here.
Let's see
Nice.
those.
We got
Oh,
the nice sear marks on there.
beautiful.
Okay. So we're
Smells
gonna go ahead
good,
now.
too.
Pick another new spot here on the grill. And we're going to actually put the shrimp on.
Oh,
And we're gonna do these as direct as well.
okay.
So these are the shrimp usually takes roughly about 3 minutes per side. We're gonna do these here direct. Close the lid and go 2 minutes right now, okay?
2 minutes. Got it. Your timer has been set for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Lauren.
You're welcome.
So I'm not taking the temperature yet on the steak, right? We're gonna wait until we move it in direct. And that's where we're gonna get the first look at to see what the temperature of the steak is. Now, folks, it doesn't really, every time you be grilling out there, it's not gonna be always the same. We're not gonna bubble. We're in a bubble over here, right? There's an indoor demo kitchen on it. I'm not gonna have the differences from the temperature that's outside or the wind that's coming in in your patio. So that's gonna play a role. That's going to definitely play a role in whether it's going to be in your gas or your charcoal or your smoker. And you have to kind of roll with the punches a little bit, right? So that's where we're going to take our first temperature is when we're going to move it now in direct, see where it's at. We want to get to a nice medium rare.
Yes,
So on
please.
top end temperature of medium rare is going to be roughly about 130, right? If you guys look at your recipe cards, there's also going to be a little temperature guideline there for you. Medium for medium, it's like 145, 155 for medium well, 165 and above for well done. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're going to pull our steaks off roughly 5 to 10 degrees below. So we're going to be looking like right around 120 degrees. And that way we're going to make sure that we're going to allow about 5 to 10 degree carryover cook time as it goes on, right? So
Kevin was just asking,
Yeah.
what was the heat level for the middle of the grill for the left and the right sides?
well, we have our grill zone here set up with the direct grilling is in the center. I had them all about medium high for ours.
So medium high
Medium
in
high
the middle.
for the middle two. I had for the middle two burners here. I had it medium high. I had my left burner and right burner off.
Oh, off. Okay.
Yeah.
And
All
if you have a-
depends on your grill. Maybe you're
Right.
not getting that type of temperature. You need to go low more for your indirect, and high on your direct, because we really want to make sure we get to that 450 to 500 degrees. Okay.
Absolutely.
How's that timer, Lauren?
It just went right off.
All
Look
right.
at that. Good timing. Haha.
So
Couldn't cheat.
if you look down over here on our on the board here, I have a couple options for you. One is our regular digital thermometer, and the other one is the digital SnapCheck thermometer. It's kind of like a little switchblade. And
Well, our participants are getting, some of our participants are getting the digital one.
very nice, very
Yeah.
nice. So these are pretty awesome. If you have to change a battery out every now and then, that's fine. I've had my SnapCheck for about 2.5 years, and I only change the battery once on it.
Probably use it a lot more than the average bear.
Yeah, a lot more. So we just turned the shrimp over as well. I'm going to give you a little look on it. Had a nice char on there. It's turning nice and red. The shell's nice and red as well, but we're still pretty gray in there, and obviously
yeah.
that side's uncooked.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
So we're going to set that for another 2 minutes for that.
2 minutes.
Now we're going to take a look at the grill, the steak itself.
Did you want me to start the timer now or after you take the temperature?
Yeah, let's go for 2 minutes for the
2 minutes.
shrimp.
Start.
Right in the middle, I'm getting roughly about 111 on one side. Right in the middle was roughly
Oh, yeah.
about 100 degrees. Okay.
I'm seeing
So
that. I'm seeing that.
we're going to check it out in about 3 minutes for that steak, 2 minutes for the shrimp right now. Now, here's the big tip, right? So, segue tip.
Yeah,
Tips.
tip.
All right.
Big.
So
Two tips.
where's that thermometer gonna go? Right? You go straight down. You have to. A lot of people that go straight through, and they're taking the temperature of the bottom of the steak and the temperature coming off the grates. So if you do that, you really have to be careful. Make sure just the way that most of them go is just like within the very tips here of the thermometer. I like to go more at an angle. So the way I'm more guaranteed more that I'm going to go towards the center of the steak rather than totally through it. Okay. You always want to pick usually the meatiest part of the steak itself, like the heart, the eye of the round here in the ribeye. If you start taking temperatures closer to the bone, it's going to give you a discrepancy of temperature. Sometimes it's going to be a lot cooler as well. Don't forget the bone is also going to be heating up from the fire and the grill itself. That could also kind of throw it off and saying that you might be further along than it really actually is. If you're worried more about that center eye around where all that meat is, right? Now, the method we're doing here today is called the direct sear method. Now, the other thing that I had mentioned earlier about the other method was the reverse sear method. That's when you're starting off more the lower temperature of the grill, upwards around 325. Indirect, starting off with your steak. You're still seasoning it the same way, but you're not putting it over the flame. You're just bringing it on there for a couple of minutes per side, bringing the steak up to about a rare, about 100 degrees. Kind of like where we were when you just took it off. And then you would take your steak off, let it rest, crank up your gas, or add some more charcoal to it, get it really piping hot. Then you would go back to finish off your steak to get a good crust on the outside of it. Timer is going off. Okay. So the shrimp should be about ready to go as well.
Roger, yes. The accessories are coming in a separate box, and they will be coming probably a week or so after the class.
Okay. So looking at here on the shrimp here on both sides, it's looking gorgeous there. Gorgeous there. I'm looking right at the center part of it. You know, it's nice and plump. It's all white. That's going to be done for us. Okay. I'm going to set that one aside right now too, because again, I hate overcooked shrimp.
Right. We don't want to overcook.
No.
No.
Now, as far as the steak itself.
Sorry, I know you're going about the steak there.
Yeah.
You were talking about the reverse sear method. So you said I would get it to a rare temperature, and then I'm going to pull it off the grill. I'm going to crank the grill up, and then I'm going to put it back on.
That is correct.
Okay.
Then you put it back on right over the main flame, right over the main burners, because that's where you're going to get the biggest and the nicest crust to go with it. You don't even have to worry so much about getting the hashtag marks on it. You can just go ahead and gather just a nice sear, nice crust on both sides of it, and call it a day. It's like almost if you wanted to go black on blue, then yeah, crank the grill up to 600 degrees. Just let the flame kiss it there. It gets a little black on the outside, both sides. Pull it off. Done. It's still moving on the inside.
All right. Now I have like 4 more questions.
Yeah.
Okay. One, we'll start with. What's the benefit of a reverse sear versus a direct sear? That's question 1.
Okay. Question 1. Let's hit them up one at a time. All right.
Let's go for it. Okay.
Right.
I like this.
So as far as the reverse sear steak, what the more of the benefit is, what the thought process behind it is, that you get it more of a coast to coast temperature reading when you cut that steak open. So a lot of times direct sear, what you're going to find is more in the outer rim is going to be more like grayish, and it's more the center is going to be the temperature range that you're looking for, whether it's medium rare, medium, to really show off that reddish and the pink center. And then you can achieve still the same way here with the direct sear method if you're following the right steps and guidelines, that you're not over the direct heat for too long, that you're allowing it to go slowly on the indirect side of it, and that your grill is not too hot as well either.
Okay.
Yeah. Second question.
Question 2. What steak would you recommend doing the reverse sear, and what steak would you recommend doing the direct sear?
Okay. That's going to be like a preference, for your folks, for yourself as well. As far as the ribeye itself, I'm not going to go less than 16 ounces for doing this one. This is a great steak to do just because of the additional fat here separating the muscles. So ribeye, great choice. Filet, also great choice. If you're on the strip steak, I would also go for the larger cuts as well. As far as just the direct sear method, again, it's going to be up to you to kind of play around and try with both. So I've just been notified here that time is about up here on our resting right now for our steak.
That was going to be my next question. Yeah. So you took it off the grill.
I did.
And you're just letting it sit there.
I'm just letting it sit there.
What's that about?
It's resting.
What's
See-
that?
See, what happens is you're grilling at a higher temperature. So all that blood and the juice inside, they're all riled up, right? We got to get them to settle down, and we need to let that rest. You ever have that before? You had the steak at a perfect like medium, pull it off, and you pull it down. You just can't wait. So you got to cut into it right away. It just
Mhm.
bleeds out on the plate, and
Yeah.
next you know we're having a medium well steak,
Or it's dry.
or it just gets dry,
Yeah.
right? So that's why the resting is recommended. If you guys are resting at home, you can actually put like a little foil tent on top of it to kind of keep the outside temperature still there, but without you're preventing itself from continuing to cook. So that's why it's really crucial to let that happen. So you want to make sure everything else is ready to go for dinner. You'll have all the sides ready to go. All the kids are all washed up and they're all set down. They got their beverages. Your next beer is cracked. The wine is open. The dog has been fed, and you're about ready to sit down and eat because now it's time to cut. And let's go ahead and you up for it?
And while you're cutting,
Yes.
I always like to ask, so if I'm doing a well done steak or I'm doing a medium rare steak, do they still spend the same amount of time on direct versus indirect, or how does that work?
Believe it or not, Lauren, if it's going to be well done or medium rare, I'm going to spend the same amount of time over the open flame for both of them.
So they just spend more time on the indirect to get
Exactly.
that temperature that
It's
you
just
want.
going to take some more time.
Got it.
I had it this weekend, a 10-ounce fillet for a private class, and then somebody wanted medium well, and I said, you're going to expect at least to be, a 30-minute grilling time just by letting it sit there. All right, folks, let's go and open that up there for you.
Oof.
Boom, boom,
Yummy.
boom. So remember what I was saying
Oh.
now about achieving that, you still achieve that, the nice coast-to-coast temperature range, right? There we go. That's because we had a perfect temperature to grill on to get that direct sear. It's a nice crust on the outside, but we didn't penetrate it down too much because we limited the amount of time that was on it. Enough to get the char, but not so much that it's going to be cooking it further down here. And then we let that finish off in direct like that. And even that fat that was here separating here too is nice and soft as well. Because remember, this is also comes off the rib loin, which we all love for prime rib. We all know that how juicy that could be, right?
Yes. Love
Yeah.
it. Gosh, I don't know about you guys, but I am ready to dig into that steak.
Yeah, so gotta tell you this at home, that folks, is that one of those negative cons that we have here at work is that we have this beautiful steak here to do it, and well, no, somebody's got to eat it.
Somebody's got to eat it.
Yeah.
No job.
Says
here.
my director Dave in the background there. It's like, all right, good. Had a very late lunch, so I'm ready for my classes this evening.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
only had my Starbucks this morning, so I'm starving.
So again, folks, I want to thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts here at Weber Grill. It's been a pleasure being part of your program, and hopefully we get to see you out here in one of the restaurants. Maybe want to come out and join us for one of our live classes. We're having out here in Schaumburg, Illinois, down in Lombard or St. Louis or Indianapolis, and we'd love to have you.
Absolutely. I also typed in my email address. If you ever have any questions about grilling in general, maybe it's even Thanksgiving and you're like, I want to grill a turkey. Do you have any tips or tricks? Feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to always ask the chefs and get those questions answered for you. I know that we're wrapping things up here. We're so glad that we all had to have you with us today. I'm going to turn it over to Elise, who's going to do the grand drawing for the smoke fire, which I know is been highly anticipated. So I'm excited to see who wins as well.
I know I've got all these names. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to fold them all up now.
Oh no!
That was so great, Lauren. I love watching you guys interact with each other, and it was really informative. I don't know if the HP folks have anything to add, but that was really awesome. So I really appreciate you doing that for us today. I know many of you asked questions in the chat, so absolutely, if you do have any further questions, the HP folks are still on the call. I'm just finishing up folding these names here now that I know who is on the call at the very end, and we will draw for that long-awaited grill that Weber has for us.
Laura, I was just curious, Lauren, would you have a picture of the grill that we could put up on there while we're getting ready for the drawing?
That's a great question, or a great idea, actually, Lisa. I wonder if we have it up here.
Let's see. Just to wet everyone's whistle.
Yes, give them something good to look at. Something exciting to look at, other than me folding paper. All right. Let me get that pulled up here.
Sorry, I think I think we're muted. I don't know if you guys can hear me
Oh, yep, we can
Or
hear
not.
you,
I can
Lauren.
hear you.
Yep.
anymore. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, there it is.
There
Got
it
it.
is. So this is what you'll be receiving. And Lauren, this is in stock, correct?
Yep, and we have a custom grill cover as well that will be
Oh.
shipped separately, but it will be coming along with it.
Okay.
All right, I've
And
got everybody's name in a bag here. Shake it up good. All right. So I've got Kevin Klockner from Stella and Chewy's as our winner. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen
Congratulations,
here.
Kevin.
Yay.
Perfect. And
And I think he had a question earlier too. So that's wonderful.
He did.
he said,
Yeah.
sweet, thanks. Perfect. All right. Well, Kevin, I will make sure that your account executive reaches out to you to touch base on winning the grill. Congratulations. Very exciting. But if you guys do have any other questions, like I said, we'll follow up with you. Otherwise, feel free to pop them in the chat. We'll hang out for just a couple more minutes here, but thank you so much, everybody, for your time. Thank you to our gracious sponsors, HP, and our good friends at Weber Grill for giving us some information and some good tips and tricks on grilling for the season. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.